A very good evening to all of you. I am Muskan Agarwal, your host for today's webinar. I welcome you all to this session scheduled today. I welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Anurag Katarki. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and joining us today for enlightening the budding lawyers and young minds connected with us here. Sir is a barrister called to the bar by the Honorable Society of Gray's Inn. He did his undergraduate degree in law from the University of Warwick, United Kingdom. Currently, he works as an associate at AZB and Partners. He practices in a diverse field of litigation ranging from white-collar crimes to commercial arbitration and company law disputes. Once again, I welcome you, sir. I request all our participants to keep their video and mic off throughout the webinar. You can put up your questions and queries in the chat box, which will be answered at the end of this webinar by our guest speaker. Or you may raise your hand in the question and answer session. We'll unmute you thereafter and you may ask up your query directly from sir. Without wasting much time, let's start this webinar now. Over to you, sir.
Hi, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, thank you for that humble introduction. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, students, or rather, as ma'am rightly pointed out, should I say budding members of the profession. And I see that there are some members of the profession as well who have joined us. I've been called here to speak on a rather lighter topic today, that is holistic analysis of foreign legal education and from the United Kingdom perspective, where I would be apprising you from the pros and cons of foreign legal education and bridging the gap between the Indian and the United Kingdom bar. So I'm pretty sure you all would be curious as to why I only chose this country to talk about. Well, it is because I do believe that it is the father of all laws. I'm sure you all, or at least all the legal students out there, are already aware that the British colonial power under the Government of India Act 1858, if I'm not wrong, implanted common law legal system in India. The criminal law, civil law, except some personal laws and public law, administered in India is common law with such modification as has been thought necessary, varying on the culture and the customs of our country particularly. Also, the fact that the Constituent Assembly particularly chose not to part with the common law by virtue of Article 372 of the Constitution. Not only does this include the codified law, but it also comprises the unwritten common law. It stands to reason for the continuation of the Indian legal system as common law, as it is primarily based on universal principles of natural justice and good conscience. Thus, India could not have thrown out the common law system and violently disrupted the existing relationships. The people could not have been denied their acquired rights and duties which were incurred. The disruption was nobody's suggestion, and the common law became equally necessary in post-independent India as well to secure the property rights, promote trade and commerce, and secure public order by enforcing criminal law. The common law, as I said earlier, is modified and continues to be modified to suit the Indian conditions. Now, interestingly, I don't know if you all are aware, I'm sure you all are aware actually, the Mr. M.C. Chagla, who happened to be the first Indian Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, a former Union Minister and a diplomat as well. While he was serving as the Indian High Commissioner in the United Kingdom, he as well came into close contacts with legal luminaries, which I'm sure a lot of you law students would have heard of, like Lord Evershed, Lord Devlin, and my personal favorite, Lord Denning, who I personally believe to be the father of contract law. They apparently were particularly interested in contacts being made and maintained between the Indian and the English bar, to which I completely agree with them, as we should not cut ourselves from the very fountainhead of our legal and judicial traditions. So moving on to the webinar, I will be giving today a brief conspectus of, can you please change the slide, please? The next slide. So I'll be giving a brief conspectus about the relevance of the topic, the objectives and the objectives that you can achieve off from this foreign education. And please feel free to pop into the chat box any other topics that you would like me to cover. And if it does fit the broader topic, I would try and inculcate it, or always I'm free to answer those questions at the end of the Q&A session. Right? So please, can you please see the next slide, please? Yeah, so now the above one, please. Thanks. So now let's jump straight into it. I got a lot of requests from students through LinkedIn and various other social media platforms who want to pursue law, particularly in the undergraduate degree in the UK. So the students out there who wish to do so, I can give you a small conspectus of what you're looking forward to. So now the particular advantage that you can get of choosing to do LLB from the United Kingdom is that you get to do it in 3 to 4 years, unlike in India where you have to do 5 years. But that those 3 to 4 years have their own hardships and also the good times along with it. The best part about these courses and the courses offered by the universities are that they do also offer a hybrid course where you can pursue other subject along with law. Like, to give an example, I would say I knew some people who did philosophy, politics, and law, or law and business, and law and economics. I mean, it totally depends on the choice of university, but most of the universities out there do offer a hybrid course, which is something to look out for. I didn't do that, but do learn from my mistakes, I would say. And I would always say that this is the most optimum use of your money, considering you're spending a bomb to do your LLB abroad. And also the fact that I have started to be a firm believer of the thinking that law in itself is not that useful, but coupled with any other knowledge, it is priceless. Moving on. Moreover, the thing with these courses is that, at least in the abroad, what I saw was that it was structured in such a way that, apart from certain compulsory modules, and by the way, this also applies for LLM who wish to pursue LLM courses as well, that apart from certain compulsory modules, the students also have the option of choosing from a variety of optional modules. I will say that, yes, we do have to choose from optional modules out here as well. But the catch is that you can choose from optional modules from different streams. That's like you can choose from economics or business, something which you're particularly just interested of from that particular stream. And also the fact that each university, actually most of the universities, have modules which teach law in a more contemporary way, which I would say makes it easy to grasp for the present generation to grasp. Like, to give an example, when I was doing my undergrad, I had this module called Law and Film, where we literally saw classic movie clips. Like, to give an example, I would say To Kill a Mockingbird, or like 12 Angry Men, or even Suits, which is quite popular nowadays, for a matter of fact. And after every 15, 20 minutes of clip, we were told to see what is the legal aspect in that clip. Like, imagine if there is a transaction going on, so we'll say what are the contractual aspects of that. Or like if there is a murder scene going on, we'll say, oh, what are the criminal charges and what are the possible defenses that can come up with. Or actually, if you remember, I'm pretty sure you all watched Suits. We were literally told to see the ethical violations done by Harvey Specter while he was standing in court and the way he was behaving. So like, this is a way where you actually like to enjoy law, and while actually gaining the knowledge of law while also enjoying it. And another module that I can think of on top of my head is art of advocacy. This was a particularly rather very different type of module, which I think everyone in India, or like at least the Indian university, should inculcate in their curriculum. This taught us from things to how do we present ourselves in the court, our oratory skills, even the way we dress up to the point of fact, which I initially thought was bizarre, but it really did help me after a point of time. So these are the modules which you can look forward to, which make learning fun and as well more comprehensible for the present generation, and you get to revise also, to be honest, in a very fun way. That's one of the few things I saw while studying abroad. But doing your undergrad degree, or like what say LLB abroad, has its own set of problems. unlike in India, where the teachers do spend their sweat and tears every day teaching you for an hour every subject, that you won't find abroad. The contact hours with teacher per subject would be around roughly 2 to 3 hours per week. So for a 5 subject module per semester, you can expect around 15 hours or 10 to 15 hour contact hours with teacher per week. So basically, most of the studying is done by you. So you have to be very self-disciplined. So that's something I thought was lacking coming from Indian perspective, where like in school, we are taught every subject, every hour, every day. So that's one of the big drawbacks I saw out there. And the main drawback, which I saw was when I came back to India, was the main problem is the recognition of your degree by the Bar Council of India. Now, coming to that, the main problem is the Bar Council of India recognizes LLB degrees only from selected universities. So when you are applying, do make sure that you cross-check that list, because if you don't, you might be in a big puddle with after having spent all that money and going through all those hardships and getting a degree. Your degree is not recognized by the Bar Council of India. That would be a shame. And second is the recognition of that degree in India. Now, the problem is recognizing a 3 or 4 degree in India is tough because, as you all know, that law in India is for 5 years, and Bar Council mandates that in order to be not to be discriminatory with the students out here, everyone should have a 5-year degree. Now, the next question that would be popping up in your mind is, what should I do if I only have a 3 or 4 degree? How do I bridge that gap? So, Bar Council of India has a set of guidelines which keep on changing now and then. So make sure you keep a track on it if you are studying abroad. So one, it says that if you have a 3 or 4 year degree, you can bridge the gap by either doing an LLM, that makes it 4, or if you've done a 4-year degree, that makes it 5. And if it makes it 4, you can pursue barrister, that is BPTC, or a solicitor, which is called an LPC course. Or if you want to come back to India and go a bit depth into the Indian laws as well, which I would highly recommend, you can do something what is called as a bridge course. Now, this course is offered by selected universities. You can find a list of those universities in the Bar Council of India website. As far as I know, they are like selected 4 NLUs: Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, if I'm not wrong, and West Bengal. These 4 NLE universities offer the bridge courses, which you can choose for either 1 year or 2 year, depending on your requirement. But also, the thing is, you're not done right here. Right after that, you will have to go through the tedious course of passing what is called as a foreign law qualifying exam, foreign law graduates qualifying exam. It's a set of 6 exams, each 100 marks, that you'll have to clear each and every paper of them over a period of 6 days consecutively. And the results again take a lot of time. And average time, what I would have seen that people after graduating and coming back to India is around 1 to 1.5 years. So make sure that you are geared up for that, because it can be very frustrating. That is one of the biggest drawbacks of doing your undergrad abroad, because of its recognition and the policy that Bar Council of India nowadays inhibits in itself to recognize these degrees. Now, coming down. If you can move, please. The next slide. Sorry, I forgot to tell you about that. I'm really sorry. Now, do you have any questions regarding the application, or like what do you students think is a misconception or an assumption that you have studying abroad, or like the quality of education that you expect of there? Anything, if you want me to clarify right now, I'm happy to clarify, or we can do it in the end as well. Whatever you like. Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so moving on. Can you please move the slide, please? Next one, please. Yes. So, a favorite topic for a lot of students who have graduated in India and secured a law degree, and now who want to go abroad and pursue a master's. Now, this is particularly quite common and very popular amongst Indian students. A lot of Indian students flock to the United Kingdom to pursue LLM, way larger in number than the undergraduate students who pursue law. LLM is particularly more attractive because, as you can see, there's multiple of factors. A, you don't have to go through the bar council course. You already have a license in your pocket. You're not restricted by the bar council. And the thing with LLM is, unlike undergrads, you have many scholarships available, and a lot of very few people only look at the scholarships which are offered by the universities. But very few people know that there are many scholarships which are offered outside of the universities, particularly to Asians, to like Southern Asians, like Bangladeshis, Indians, Pakistanis. There's a separate trust actually for that. And I know a few people who also applied to private family trusts and got a scholarship for LLM. So this is something which is very cost effective for students, and yet they do get the international exposure that they dream of getting and they want of getting. And the main advantage is, unlike undergraduate degree, which is for like 3 or 4 years, LLM can typically come up to only 1 or 2 years. So yeah, it is way more cost effective. And the best part is you get to specialize in an area of law of your choice. So the lot of LLM degrees that I have seen, they have various option of choices. Like I would say there is law and finance, or law and banking, law and economics. You name it and it's there. And even if it's not there, like I said, for the LLB degrees, you can choose some modules from the other streams as well. So that's one thing which it lets you expand your education horizon. And like I said earlier, that law coupled with other knowledge is priceless. And the more you know, the better off truly you are in the profession. And also one more thing which I found was a lot of people do undergraduate degree when they're like just 18, 19-year-olds. And something which I noticed with a lot of Indian students out there, that they were not mature enough to move to a different country at that young age. But when you're at the time by you're already going to do your LLM, you're pretty mature enough to handle yourself in a foreign country completely by yourself. So that independence also kicks in, and the self-discipline also is pretty much there, which I've seen a lot of undergraduate students are missing, and which is actually required to study at a foreign university. Next slide, please. XQE. Now, this is particularly very, very popular with students who have done their undergraduate degree abroad, because the one thing, okay, sorry, I really missed out to clarify this. Now, unlike India, where you do your LLB, you get a practicing license right after the 5-year course. But after this 3-year course in the UK, all that you have studied are subjective degrees, subjective law. You haven't studied the procedural law. So basically, you don't have a right to practice right after those 3-year LLB degree. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, what sham is this? But it is as it is. In order to be able to qualify to practice in the UK, you would either have to do an LPC, that is solicitorship, or a BPTC, which is barristership. So solicitorship, that is LPC degree, is quite popular among students because you get many more job offers. And the thing is, law firms, if you actually secure a training contract in a law firm, they will sponsor your LPC, which actually turns out to be very cost effective for students out there, and it's way larger in number available to students out there. And sorry, and you would be actually wondering why is the title SQA and LPC as a subtitle. The thing is, from September 2021 onwards, the Bar Council has decided to scrap everything and introduce a one set of uniform standardized exam, that is SQE. Now, this is the same exam which Indian lawyers, like people who have license to practice in India, can give as well and secure their right to practice in the UK. So this is one thing. I saw one of the questions that had been posted to me just before the webinar, is that how to get to the UK and practice as a lawyer. This is your way, my friend. The SQE will start from September 2021, and you can enroll for it. And there are private institutes which will help you in studying for these courses, and you can give these exams. And if you clear it and you get your training contract, you can practice in the United Kingdom but only as a solicitor. Now, a lot of people out there would be thinking, why am I emphasizing on this word solicitor and barrister? Well, the main thing is solicitors are mostly like what we do, what I'm doing right now, working in a firm. So like I always said that solicitors are like the backbone of a case, whereas barristers are the face of the case. So the thing is, what I'm trying to say is you won't be able to argue in the court. If you wanted to become a counsel, then this is not for you, my friend. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you just want to practice there, then this is the perfect way for you to get in. Next thing, if I'm missing something about your solicitor. Now, I think I'm good. Can you move on, please? Oh, yeah, this is my favorite topic now, barristership. Now, as you all are aware, there have been a lot of barristers, a lot of counsels in India who have been given the right to practice in the UK. Off lately, it is Mr. Gopal Subramaniam, our very own senior advocate, who has been indicted into the UK bar to practice as a barrister. And obviously, we all are aware of the famous name, Mr. Harish Salve, who is a member of the Inner Temple, who right now, if I'm not wrong, practices at the Blackstone Chambers. So the thing about barrister thing is these are the counsels, like I said earlier, are the face of the case who have the right of audience, that is the right to practice in the courts of law. Now I'll take you to the process about what this course is and what I and my personal experience while doing this course, and something which you students should look forward to while doing it. So moving on. Now, the entry to the bar course, which is a prerequisite to becoming a barrister, is granted only to a student who has done his law degree in the United Kingdom, or to those who hold non-law degrees but have completed a one-year conversion course known as a graduate diploma in law, which short form is usually referred to as GDL. Now, unfortunately, law degrees from India, that is a BA LLB or a BBA LLB, is not recognized without completing the GDL, which is a shame. Although I have heard of some students who have applied for exemption from GDL, but there are no set of guidelines that have been published by the Bar Council of the UK. So it's very subjective, and it's their whims and fancies whether they wish to grant you that exemption. Whether they wish to grant you that exemption, basically, yeah. So now, regarding this admission process, you have to be a member of one of the 4 Inns of Court in order to even apply for this course. Now, you'll be wondering what are these 4 Inns of Court? Now, so these 4 Inns of Court are Inner Temple, Middle Temple, Lincoln's Inn, and Gray's Inn. Now, Lincoln's Inn is the oldest one, established in, if I'm not wrong, in the mid 13th century. And the last one is, I think, was Gray's Inn, which was established sometime in the mid 14th or early 15th century, if I'm not wrong. I'm a member of the Gray's Inn. And these are the 4 Inns of Court, which are basically the oldest school of law in the world, right out there. The oldest school of law in the world, right out there. These Inns of Court earlier used to also impart knowledge, as in they used to conduct the courses, but now it has been, how do you say, it has been delegated to different universities, selected universities, who conduct these courses. But Inns of Court are a very much an integral part of your course. That is the BPTC course, or off lately how they have revised it and given different names, such as BVC and BCAT, if I'm not wrong, and all these different courses. But essentially, it is more or less the same course with some subjects left and right out there. Now, the thing with this course is, like I told you earlier, in your undergraduate degree, you will only learn subjective law. Here it's 1 year of just procedural law, that is your CPC, your CRPC, and a lot of practical aspects. So by practical aspects, I'm talking about, like, you'll have modules such as on cross-examination or examination in chief of witness, presenting an application to the court, um, opinion writing, drafting, conference skills. And the thing is, it's a course which is conducted over a period of 9 months. for which, and you have to secure, like, if I'm not wrong, around 60% minimum to pass in each subject, and you have only one retake opportunity. So you have a lot at stake right out there, like I said. And you'll be thinking, what is the ins of court role playing in this? Now, the thing is, in order to graduate, you not only have to pass these 10 to 12 modules, each with a 60% each, you have to also go to 12 qualifying sessions, which is where the ins of court comes into play. So these 12 sessions are conducted in your respective member in ins of court where you're a member of. So now, what are these? Then your next question would be, what are these 12 qualifying sessions? Is this a fancy name? No. So these qualifying sessions are split into what is called a debate, moots, mixed messes, and if I'm not wrong, debates, moot, mixed messes. Yeah, that's it. Debates, moots, and so debates are where basically the legal luminaries are called to present a debate, or even you might be short selected if you apply for it in to present a debate in front of the legal luminaries in your circle and polish up your skills, because this is where everyone is a member and they all have a fraternity like attitude towards you. So it's nowhere where you'll be judged about, but this is where you actually would get to improvise on your skills. And the next one, which I would say, moots. So now moots is something which is dear to every law student. Here you would actually be given, like any other moot, your cases would be given, your briefs would be given, but these would be conducted, this would be judged by real judges who are members of the inn as well, and with whom you can get practical feedback time to time, right after your session, and also following in the different sessions where you meet them. You can again inculcate those suggestions with you, and always feel free to meet them and get more suggestions as to your future moves. And the last one, but not the least, is the mixed messes. Now, the mixed messes is very interesting and very, I would say, something which is very close to my heart and is my personal favorite, because it's basically a fine dining that you go to. And I'm pretty sure you all have seen Harry Potter. So if you remember the dinner where they used to go to in the hall, that very hall is actually shot in the dinner hall of Lincoln's Inn. So that's literally where how we all students sit, with donned in our gowns, with in a set of four each, of two students and two legal luminaries. So this is a way where you actually get to um, how do you put it? Where you actually get to get proper feedback, increase your fraternity with the members of the profession, and enjoy good food, not the least. Now, the next thing to go to is, which I have really seen, is a topic which is close to me, that is the traditions. Now, the tradition is something which barristers do take very close to their heart. You always have to wear a suit while entering these halls or any of these qualifying sessions. You always have to be properly dressed. Not to mention, which is a bit wrong, but yeah, you will be judged for your for your dressing sense and the way you speak, or basically your oratory skills. And the best part is about the tradition is how they carry it out year after year in the same manner that they used to do it in the early 14th century. That is, I can give you a brief conspectus of that. That is, like, if you enter the hall, you all enter in a single line. You all stand. You all stand in lines. There is an oath taken by all of you in a line, and there is a domus, that is basically how do I say, dry wine or mulled wine. Sorry, it's basically mulled wine, which you drink off the same cup. Which, frankly, I found it a bit weird, but that's a tradition that you have to follow. And yeah, and also the famous barrister wig, which you have to wear while entering the thing, along with the gowns that you have to don. Moving further, ladies of the bar. Now, it is true that in India, men have dominated the field of law, and most of the barristers that we know of are men. But little is it known that even ladies have had their fair share of contribution. Notably, the first Indian female to have become a barrister was Miss Cornelia Sorabji, if I'm pronouncing it right. Excuse me if I'm not. She was also the first woman to study law in England. So, yeah, after all, we Indians are progressive, better than them. Later, many women from India actually flocked to the inns to become a barrister. The most famous amongst them were Justice Sujata Manohar, if I'm not wrong. She was a former Supreme Court judge and Chief Justice of the Bombay and the Kerala High Courts. And Justice Padma Kashgir, if I'm not wrong, she was a former judge of the Calcutta High Court. The sad part is ratio is slightly, I would say, highly disproportionate. And I would strongly encourage and support women to join the bar and become a barrister, and hopefully wish to see your representation in a larger number as counsels. Now, last but not the least, is the way forward. What we can expect in the future, in light of all these restrictions that we Indians that have imposed upon the Indian lawyers in who want to practice abroad or who want to become a barrister abroad, which is even a higher restriction according to me, is something that I would highly recommend that the Bar Council of India and the Inns of Court set up scholarship schemes for Indians, for India's deserving candidates, and even the Inns of Court, which we Indian students have not much heard of, especially me. I myself hadn't heard of it until I went abroad to study, and that's when I was apprised of this. To conduct workshops and seminars in universities and schools of India to enlighten students about the oldest bar, which it is frankly the oldest bar. And additionally, I would also recommend the Bar Council of India and the Bar Standards Board of the United Kingdom to deliberate a solution through which Indian LLB graduates can be exempted from that so-called GDL course, and the exemptions be actually in the form of set guidelines, so the students themselves know that they have checked those boxes or not and what to expect, and not leave their future in a limbo. And what else? I would also like to say the universities of India can maybe have a tie-up with the university providers of the bar course. The courses in India can probably incorporate some of the modifications and standardize their programs as well, which would be of beneficial. That would be highly beneficial to the Indian students, as well. Yeah, and maybe even the Bar Council of India can also recognize, I would say, the GDL course as a valid law degree. This is for students who have pursued their undergrad degree in some other courses, but then switch to law and do the 1-year GDL course, which is recognized in the UK. I highly recommend that it should be recognized in India for ease of foreign law graduates to enroll as advocates in India. And this would actually be in line with the wishes of our very own Lord Devlin, Lord Evershed, and Lord Denning as well. So that, my friends, was a small conspectus of what I planned on presenting in this webinar. Feel free to do ask me any questions out here. I'm here to answer all your questions. Anything you want me to ask about how to apply abroad, or like what to look forward from foreign education, or some of your assumptions which may be a myth or may highly be true. Yeah, just feel free to pop up in the chat box or talk about it. I see that something is there. Okay. So someone has asked, sir, who has more chances of getting into tier 1 law firms in India? A person having a bachelor degree plus an LLM abroad, or a person with LLM abroad? Well, frankly speaking, at least I can speak for my law firm. I would say they don't discriminate. They actually look at the person that you are, and it doesn't matter, to be honest, which college also you're from. Even if you've just studied in India, don't keep a foreign law degree at a higher pedestal. That's what I would say. Even if you're studied, whether you have studied in NLU or any other, I'm just making up a name like Ramchandra University, don't feel that you're below or above them. Ultimately, is the same law books that you're studying from. Ultimately, what I have seen that employers look for is your personality, your interpersonal skills, and the confidence that you exuberate while talking. Even you could be talking nonsense, but you do it in a confident way, it might fool some people and get you ahead. So that's one thing. And second, to answer the question properly, is whether having a bachelor degree or an LLM abroad or just an LLM abroad. Well, it does help you, because I personally felt that studying abroad is one thing where I got to expand my horizons. In the world of globalization, I got to have friends and got to interact with people from different countries and also different professions. And it actually developed my interpersonal skills, made me a more confident individual. And also being independent is one thing that I learned of when I was living abroad. I hope I answered that. If not, you can also put your further questions as well.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening our participants on such an interesting and important topic. Uh, Anybody having any questions, you can put them in the chat box. Sir, we also received some questions on the Google survey form that we circulated. I request you to address them as well.
Sure. Can you just put them, or can you just tell them, please? I just
Yeah,
don't.
I'll just tell them to you. The first question is, does the law degree from India, is it applicable in other countries?
Well, every country, I would say, have their own set of guidelines. As I just said, India has its own set of weird rules. The same thing is right out there. Like I apprised you about the UK, how they don't recognize it per se, but if you can make an application, you get an exemption. But still, you will have to go through the further course of a BPTC or the SQE examination. I can't speak for some other countries, but as far as I have known of, there are set of examinations even in Dubai that you would have to that you would have to qualify. I'm not saying that they are too difficult, but yeah, there is a yardstick that you would have to qualify. It's highly unlikely that there would be any country out there who would be welcoming you with their open arms just because you have a law degree. But that doesn't mean that the doors are shut. You can definitely get through it. Any country you can go to. There, every country has their own bar council. Just Google the country's name, and I'm pretty sure the guidelines are set out right out there.
Thank you, sir. The next question that we received was, can you provide an analysis of LLM in criminal law from a foreign country?
Analysis of criminal law. Well, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have the knowledge to do that. I haven't done that, and none of my friends I've come across who have done that. But yes, surely, if that person, whosoever is out there, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and probably I can connect with them with some people, and he would, I would love to help him. But sorry, I don't have personal knowledge of that question.
All right, so the next question is, how do we shortlist which foreign college and stream of masters will be the best suited combination?
Well, there are a lot of things. First, you would have to see what stream that you're doing for. Do check the QS rankings for that particular stream, or at least for that particular course. Like if you're doing for LLM, then just do a specific search for LLM, because that university might be number one because of its excellence in some other degree, but not in your particular degree. And also certain universities, it also see the choice that you would like, because all these universities have a list of the professors as well that would be teaching you. Do a background check of the professors. Connect on LinkedIn with students of that university, because not everything is always dependent on where you study. Because like I said, the law books are the same everywhere. In order to succeed in this profession, you need to have a good mentor, and that good mentor might be at a lower grade university than always at a higher grade university. So always do your background check on the professors that are going to teach you. Connect on LinkedIn with the students who are studying out there, and also see the place. The place is also very important, where that college is located, because like an advantage with which I didn't have when I studied at Warwick was it was away from London. But had I been in London, which I was there in my final year, there are many more opportunities, because you get to attend court proceedings. You can go to employment tribunals, and even other get-togethers that all these legal luminaries have are mostly in the main cities. But so that's something you gotta see about your personal preferences and make the choice accordingly. Don't always just depend on your QS ranking. That's the that's the best advice anyone can give, I would say. That's something you and I was given for.
Right. So, the next question we received was, why do you think foreign education is important?
Um, Foreign education, it's not that I'm demeaning anyone. Please don't get me wrong. It's not that you all are doing wonderful job out here. What I would say that why it was important is more than education, like I mentioned, is the contemporaneous way they teach. That's something I hope in India is also inculcated soon, so that students in India can benefit from it highly. Because this is something, because law can something just become boring if it's just books. And like I mentioned earlier about the content, like law and film or art of advocacy, and there are a couple of other modules like it was football and law, for a matter of fact, like all these things where injuries happen, where you tackle someone, there's an injury. So with that, they're teaching us tort law, or how to look at it as a tort law perspective. Like these things help you revise law as well and make it fun. So that's something I would say abroad has caught up with, but I hope India also catches up with it soon, so that students in India can also learn law in a very fun way. And to coming back to your question is, yeah, like few things which I mentioned earlier about the fact that yeah, it does expand your horizons, and this is the new age of globalization, and the more people you know from varied countries, the better off you are.
The next question is, sir, how pursuing LLM in UK and then pursuing career as a lawyer in India gives an edge based upon the differences between the countries and the way of practice?
Well, it depends what you want to practice. If you want, see, LLM is again, it's not like BPDC where you get to do all these practical courses like cross-examination and examination in chief, which is actually the practical aspect which I'm talking about. LLM would give you obviously in-depth knowledge of the area of law that you want to specialize in. Second, like I'm just reiterating myself, expanding your horizons, making you a confident individual, and your research skills. One thing which I did notice in the UK, like I mentioned earlier, is we only have 2 hours per subject of contact hours with our teacher. So most of our studying is in person, and a lot of emphasis is actually put on essays. Unlike India, where you mostly are, at least, please correct me if I'm wrong, where students generally are highly looking forward to their exams to score well. For us, it was mainly essays where most of your marks depend upon. So the research skills, you will really get to sharpen your research skills, your writing skills, so which will indirectly help you in your drafting as well as a lawyer. And how would you be better off is the better the researcher, the better the lawyer. Is the more case laws you know, the better you're off in the court.
Right. So, next was, what is the scope for an Indian law student or advocate in UK in terms of job prospects?
Oh, well, I wish I'd got this question a couple of years ago. Since the onset of the pandemic, it's sadly not good, not looking good. Hopefully, it will look good in a couple of years. Like I said, the process is simple. You can either do the BPTC course or the SQE course, which the exams, if I'm not wrong, are September 2021 onwards, and secure a training contract. Securing a training contract, if you've already practiced in India, the previous knowledge and experience might actually help you in securing a training contract. And if you do it in the right way and first secure a training contract, they might will also sponsor your SQE. So that's money saved is money earned right out there. So I would say wait it out for a year or two, let the economy improve a bit, and you'll be fine. Uh, if I'm exceeding my thing, I would also suggest a couple of more places. Like if you want to do arbitration, go to try probably Singapore. Or if you actually just want to get off India, then Canada and Australia are also pretty helpful.
The next question that we have is, what is the scope of maritime and masters and the jobs related to maritime lawyers in UK?
Well, I wouldn't have
too much in-depth knowledge about that, but I've known from a couple of people that maritime arbitration is booming in the UK. So, but yeah, again, you'll have to again look it from a barrister or a solicitor perspective. And again, we are back to your old question about getting your trading contract abroad. So yeah, it's the same thing. You have to do an SQE or that. But yeah, maritime is something which after an LLM you will be in a very good position, but it is off lately booming.
Thank you, sir. We now have some questions in the chat box as well. The question is from Mitali. I'm planning to qualify as a solicitor in England and Wales, but during my research, I've come across that it is difficult to secure a training contract in England and Wales, and only Magic Circle and Silver Law Firm sponsors visa. Can you suggest anything on this?
Yeah, it is actually true what she has researched about. Securing into a magic law firm is quite difficult. I mean, you would have to have ace grades and probably have to save the world twice. But regarding the second part, which she said about sponsoring, that actually is yes and no, because now the new policies, if I'm not wrong, is if you do an LLM or any degree abroad, you have 2 years of visa. So those 2 years, they don't have to sponsor you. So that's something which you can actually still work at those firms and yet not having them sponsor you. So whether if you even if you work for those 2 years, you can get that pay scale, and if they and after 2 years they would be in a better position to know if they actually really want you, or and if you really perform well, they would actually be ready to hire you. Why not? The main reason is they are very wary of sponsoring is because of the less time of judge they have of judging you, because they don't want they're very wary of placing a long judgment because it is an expenditure of thousands of pounds. So 2 years of experience where they also get to know you, you would be, and if you're actually worth it, why not? They would be very much happy to sponsor you. So that's one thing which is really beneficial according to the new policies that have come out in respect of immigration.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Aditya. So,
Yeah.
how is the culture in universities in UK for pursuing LLM, and how is the internship culture there? As I hold offer currently from University of Glasgow, could you please enlighten it?
Yeah, so the LLM culture is more or less the same. Like I told you, it'll be same. You'll have per subject 2 to 3 contact hours, where like 2 hours would be your lecture, which will be done with probably 100, 200, or 300 students together. And the remaining 1 hour for that subject would be like a small session seminar, would be with like six to 10 people with personal attention from the uh, from the seminar tutor. This will be every week for every subject. Be wary of the lot of distractions that you have, because us Indians have are actually used to going to class every day and getting pushed by the teachers every day by having every subject every hour of the day. But that is not the case there. No teacher is going to push you there. They're considering that you only have to study, you only have to go to class for like 15 hours a week. You have a lot of time at your disposal. So you'll have to be self-disciplined in studying those modules, because at the beginning you would be thinking that you're going to class and it's fine, but in the end it's going to come down upon you, because you will have to do the all. And one thing is, the entire syllabus comes in the end of the year. So that's one thing you'll have to be prepared about. And second is, like I already said before, is the research skills. That's something which they heavily emphasize upon. Your referencing skills, which also they heavily emphasize upon. Um, Next thing, what I would say, the study culture that you might expect is, don't expect to be, the teachers won't be that easily approachable. Like they will give you a fixed time, but that's it, nothing more, nothing less. It's not something like in India where you meet them every day. So it's very difficult to build a rapport with a teacher, but that's something that UK has always been like. What you can expect more is a lot of independence, and study culture wise, I would say, yeah, so many modules which you never thought you could study along with law. It's something you can very much expect from that university. And yeah, it's a beautiful campus. Glasgow is a very beautiful campus. I would suggest go for it. And regarding internships prospect, is the same as India. until you know people, it's very difficult to get in. But yeah, LinkedIn is one place where you can actually get into. And one thing I've seen is that they really reward hard work. So that's something you can try for. LinkedIn is something which they really appreciate. And one thing about British I've seen, they really love self-made men or women also, not for that matter. So yeah, go for it. I would highly recommend go to Glasgow for your LLM.
The next question is from Harsimran. Can someone with LLB from India practice as a barrister in UK or maybe with LLM from UK? Or is the practice as solicitor the only option?
Well, like I said earlier, Simran, the GD, like after the LLB, you will have to do the GDL. That is a 1 year conversion course. But unless you seek an exemption, I'm sorry, I can't give you a definite checkbox for the exemption because there's no set guidelines. It's literally at the bar standard board's whims and fancies. But yeah, if you want to practice as a barrister, you'll have to do the GDL as of now until you get an exemption and also do the course, the entire course. The advantage, if for the solicitor wives is a more popular option, is that because now you won't have to do the LPC course, you will just have to clear the SQE exams. So that's one thing which is a better and a more cheaper, a more cost-effective option, I would say, right out there. But second question is, or maybe with LLM from UK. Even after LLM, you will have to do the GDL course, I'm afraid, unless you get an exemption. The main thing is because GDL presupposes, the barrister course presupposes that you know the subjective law of their country. Now, without knowing the subjective law, it's very difficult to go through the procedural thing because all your drafting, opinion writing, cross examination, or making an application will dependent upon the contract law and tort law of that particular country. So, if you've directly come from LLB from India, getting an exemption might be difficult. But yes, after an LLM from UK, it does give them the confidence that you have studied their law. So it you might have a higher chance of getting that exemption directly going for barrister.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Vaibhav. Sir, Harvey's methods were not very legal, but he managed to achieve all that he wanted. In India, does the methods and ways are really essential, seeing the number of judges and lawyers and the delay in the justice?
Oh, we're getting some philosophical questions, but um, I'll have to read that again. Right, sorry. In India, does the methods and ways really essential? Well, it is a profession. It is a noble profession, I would say, Vaibhav. If you just want to get the results by violating ethics, you might go to some extent, but you won't get the respect from your fellow peers. That's something that I have seen that a lot of people have made it to a certain level, but they have zero respect at this point of time. And it is a profession which you shouldn't think about money in this profession. You should think about being an officer of the court, how we actually put it, and how ethical rules actually say is that your duty towards your client is below your duty towards the court. So you should always just think about conducting everything in an ethical manner. Within the leaps and bounds of ethics, also you can do a lot of things if you're smart about it. So within the bounds, if what you mean is that the methods and ways are really essential, seeing the number of judges and lawyers is within the ethical bounds, go for it. But yeah, I would never suggest violating any of the ethical rules. And I would suggest to always keep a book of ethical rules handy because anything can come back and bite you in the ass in the future. Considering it is a profession, you are all by yourself, and who you are and what you are, the word travels in the court very quickly. So yeah, I would just say be careful and within the leaps and bounds, whatever you can do, considering the numbers and judges of lawyers and the delay in justice, go for it.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Abhimanyu. In UK for foreigners, there's a pathway to qualify and practice in the UK courts, which is not the same in India. Do you see Indian legal market opening up for foreigners and foreign law firms?
Well, like if you're, that's a good question. Like how there was, like off lately, I think a year or two ago, the decision came out where foreign law firms will have to hop in and fly out is the term that they used. I'm not sure. The recent decision after years of deliberation came out where they actually didn't allow foreign lawyers to come and practice in India. It would have to be a parliamentary uh, step because you would have to amend the Advocates Act to include a foreign lawyer to practice in India, and I don't think the Bar Council has those powers. The Parliament would have to do it, and I don't see any deliberation in the near future regarding that. But if it does open up, considering they are considering India to be an arbitration hub, it might open up, but nothing that I can see in the near future, to be honest.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a question from Mitali. I've also heard that clearing SQE is not enough. Employers need at least LLM degree from UK to be certain that the foreign qualified lawyers have knowledge about the statutes and rules. Is it true? Or just clearing SQE will suffice to secure a job?
Well, I have known people's both ways. It is obviously as an employer myself, I would have a lot of comfort if I would know for sure that the person I'm hiring has knowledge of UK law. Because as I said, these SQE and BPTC are mostly test you on the procedural aspects, that is CRPC, CPC, and all, and ethics, if I'm not wrong. But they don't test you on the subjective aspects. So as an employer, they will be wary of. So something which I would recommend is if you do a lot of international arbitrations. So that would give them comfort that you can do that, or you can probably sell yourself to them by saying that you are someone who is an expert in Indian arbitration, because that's something which they would be very interested in, because there are a lot of tri-party agreements that are going on and bilateral investment treaties that are being violated off lately in light of the latest government policies since the onset of the pandemic. So they would really be interested in someone who has that experience. But unless you have that or a lot of work experience in the background, it will be very difficult as to get employed just after SQE, right after law school, to be honest.
I think Vaibhav has a comment there that basically nothing that illegal, but just loopholes and using favors to buy time or help.
Well, if it helps you and the judge is happy with you, go for it.
Uh,
Does the university and ranking
yes,
of
yeah.
university ones graduated from matter later on in legal practice? To be honest, it is just a stepping stone. You could be at rank 1 or rank 100 or rank 150 or even 1000. As I would say, it is a small stepping stone. You would, if you do have a higher degree, okay, you're just a small step ahead, but that's not the end. Anyone can get ahead of you. Like I said, ranking does not matter because ultimately it's the books that you're studying from, and the books in every university is the same, and what they're teaching is also nothing different. It is just law, which is part of all the statutes. So yeah, it doesn't matter that much as long as what you come out of it from there is what actually matters. Personally, that's what I feel.
I think Vatsal has his hand up for a while now.
Oh,
Vatsal, would you
sorry,
like
I'm
to
so
unmute
sorry.
yourself?
I'm so sorry.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful presentation. Sir, actually, my question is that I am already an Indian qualified lawyer with
Hmm.
2 years of experience, and presently I am in London studying LLM from Queen Mary, and I want to become barrister here also. So, since I have little bit confusion since you talk about GDL, because as per I have little bit done my research, and they have said that you have to appear for the bar transfer test, and you might exempted with certain papers. So
Exactly.
if you can throw some light on this.
Yeah, like bar transfer exam is again one more thing. Like I said, you did your LLM out there, so they do have confidence. So they would be telling you to do the bar transfer test. I'm not sure about what exemption if they have given you regarding the modules, but yeah, if you're the thing is that the reason why you're getting this option is mainly because you have some insight into their laws by doing your LLM from a fantastic university that is Queen Mary. And after that, if you do clear that, you can go for the barrister course, but then also I would like to remind you of one fact that even after doing the barrister course, you will have to secure a pupillage. That is same as a training contract for a solicitor,
Yes, yes.
if you are aware of that. So yeah, getting a pupillage is one of the biggest daunting tasks, considering there are only 400 available in the United Kingdom, and like I think if I'm not wrong, around 100, in London. That's it. Whereas the applicants are like 3 to 4,000, and the rate for international students is mere sim, like I would say 2 to 3%. So that's something you might be worried of, and do give it a due consideration before hatching onto it. But yeah, it is a fantastic opportunity if you want to come back to India and practice after that. I'm sorry,
Okay.
do you want to come back to India or practice in the UK?
No, I am presently planning for as a practicing as a barrister in the UK.
Okay, so
Presently.
so please do look into the fact of pupillage as well, because that's something you will have to start prepping right now. Because just after the barrister course, you won't have a right of audience. That is being able to argue as a counsel in the court. You will have to secure pupillage, that is training under barristers for 2 sets of 6 months. First set is 6 months, and second set is 6 months, and then you will have to secure a tenancy in one of the chambers. And if you are not securing a tenancy, then you might have to do a third set of pupillage as well. That is another 6 months. So 18
Mm.
months right there. So it is a tedious task. And if you are determined to do that, hanging there, my friend, best of luck to do that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No worries, no worries.
We have a question from Sadhika. Can you give us an insight into employability options for Indian lawyers in the UK market currently? Is it a saturated market or are international applications easily accepted?
Oh, like I said, for just Indian lawyers, like I think it's this sort of like the same question as Harsimran. It is going to be pretty difficult, considering if because they don't have confidence of you knowing the law unless you do have something to show of your previous experience, or and the only way you can show that you know of the law is by having a bunch of international arbitrations in your pocket. Without that, it is very difficult to get in, I would say, by just having studied Indian law. Because as an employee, unless you like do an LLM or something, but by just limiting your education to LLB and just clearing the SQE, won't make you swim the river, my friend. By highly difficult, unless you are an A student. I'm sure you might be.
Question from Mitali. Can you shine some light on which will be the booming field in UK and law, especially England and Wales in the coming years?
Well, like I said, maritime law is pretty much booming. International arbitration is ever booming, considering the LCI is right there. Um, Arbitration is actually booming throughout the world. Sorry, it's not just the United Kingdom. You can go to any other hub of arbitration if you actually are interested in it. You can probably think for Singapore, Canada. Canada will have a lot of oil and gas, I would say. Even Australia, same for oil and gas arbitrations. Um, Thinking about that, yeah, I think yeah, arbitration is one thing which is going to be a big boom in England. To be honest, in the coming years, any other field, yeah, fintech, fintech and AI is something which is going to boom not just in England, in any field of law. Fintech and AI, so all the IP lawyers out there, you're going to make a lot of money.
Lastly, we have a question from Jagrati. For Indians after completing BA LLB course after the marriage, there's any option in England for practice?
After marriage, well, I don't think marriage should be an impediment to practice anywhere. For Indians completing a course after marriage, there is an option in England for practice. Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, marriage shouldn't be an impediment for anything. You can always choose to follow your dreams. And second is the same thing which I have said that I've reiterated the options of lately. The two options that you have, the two streams that you can go to. Unlike in India where there is no distinction between a barrister and a solicitor, in UK they have drawn that fine line where like solicitors are the ones who practice in firms and barristers are the one who are the counsels. So it is the same thing, like I said, like what Sadik also said, and what Sadik also asked, and Harsimran also asked, yeah, about getting into a UK law firm just right after completing LLB in India. It is highly difficult. I wouldn't lie about that.
I think we have covered all the questions, sir.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
so much, sir. It was really an informative and knowledgeable session with you today. I'm sure that whosoever is a part of the session, he or she must have learned a lot from you. Once again, I thank you for accepting our invitation. We at Vidhi Parivartan are hoping to collaborate with you for such more informative and knowledgeable sessions in future as well. I thank our participants as well for being a patient listener. We appreciate your time and patience and will make sure that we keep serving you all with such webinars in the future as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vidhi Parivartan, for having this. Special thanks to Nancy and Chelsea, who did get in touch with me, and special thanks to Muskan as well, who helped me with the PPT and getting across all the questions. Looking forward to for many more webinars on a more informative topic rather than such light topic about law, where we can discuss and expand our knowledge about law. And yeah, this was amazing. This was actually my very own first webinar, so even I got to learn a lot from you. Thank you for having me over, and yeah, best of luck for your organization. You guys are doing an amazing job at such a young age. uh, Amazing. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Uh,